The first part is going to be me attending the Rebecca Yarros event for Onyx Storm, the book that took the world by storm. And the three of them are signed. Onyx. Honestly, you will fall in love with them even harder than you did before. If you enjoyed them before, if you liked them before, you're gonna love them now.
On three, can you say Onyx Storm? 1, 2, 3.
Onyx Storm! Hello everyone. Hi, hello, hi. My name is Wendy Ivy, also known as the Geek Goddess here on YouTube. And today we're going to be talking about the one, the only, the book that took the world by storm. We're going to be talking about Onyx Storm. Let's get started. So as you can see here, I put timestamps down below on how this video is going to be divided into. So if there's just a specific part that you want to watch, go ahead and feel free to skip ahead to whatever part you want. Now this video is going to be divided up into different sections, putting the timestamps. The timestamps are down below. They'll also be in the comments, pinned on the comments so you guys can see them. But the first part is going to be me attending the Rebecca Yarros event for Onyx Storm. So you're going to be seeing Rebecca Yarros talk live in person about Onyx Storm, some theories, all the questions that people asked her, because I got to see that in person at the Novo in downtown LA. Then the second part is going to be the actual spoiler-free, so non-spoiler reading vlog where you get to experience this book with me and all the emotions, the roller coaster of emotions that this book left me with. At the very end, you're going to hear my non-spoiler review. And then finally, last, we're going to go into the spoilery talk. So if you want to talk spoilers, I'll put the timestamp down below where I'm actually going to be talking about the spoilers, plus some theories that I have for the fourth book and all that at the very end. So feel free to jump to whatever you want, the spoiler section, the non-spoiler section, the Rebecca Yarros event. I tried to put it as clean and crispy as I possibly can down below. So without further ado, hello, welcome to my Onyx Storm video. I hope you guys enjoy.
War college for dragon riders now. I know, right? It's crazy. They get to ride dragons, they get to ride each other, they get to ride. I sat some boy, I tell you, it's about out of LA right now. He's like, it's amazing. I swear. Also, I'm sorry, there's profanity. So, if you didn't get that on the first page of the book, this is your warning.
I must say, and this is not on my sheet, the sex scenes.
Yeah.
My thought at this tonight, I have a 20-year-old daughter. Yeah. And I think about like some of those scenes and I'm like, she bet not.
So I have sons, right? And I see the things you guys put on my sons. And they'll like, I'm like, because I can't ever envision them. Because the second I envision any of them in this scenario, we're done. Now,
I was 21 and I don't remember.
You know, I think I had a better size. Different college experiences, man. We chose to go to school.
I mean, I had the Cosmo bedside astrologer, but that isn't that.
No, there's no throne scene to guide you. No, like, I'm sorry. I'll work harder. One.
Next slide.
I know, next scene.
Next slide. So what was your favorite part about writing Onyx Storm?
Oh, dude. So I love how confident Violet is in this. By the way, Rishayan, I'm curious. How many of you stayed up all night and read it? Good God, have you driven here? Were you safe? Like, have you any sleep?
Freebase and gummy.
I know. Well, we'll try to keep it. We're gonna try to keep it spoiler free. I love how confident she is. Cause I am feeling she's really shaken. Like everything she knows is a lie, and when you base your entire self-worth off what you know, you're done for. So I feel like in Onyx, she's so determined and she has one goal and she's gonna go get it. She doesn't care, really, what the consequences are.
As a writer, do you think that as you're learning more about your characters in this book, that you are Violet in that way, that as you're going on in this journey, that you are getting stronger, you're getting not necessarily violent, but all wrapped. Unless you are getting more violent.
No, I don't. I keep out the daggers. I'm not really, I'm not really coordinated, so I just stay away from sharp things. But I do feel as though I think in this process, the things that my characters go through often mirror what I'm going through, and it's not on purpose. Sometimes I just have to joke that like I'm not good enough writer to separate myself out sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was really shaken, and my confidence was shaken during Iron Flame, and so Violet's next going to be shaken. And as I come in to be a more confident writer, I wrote variation in between. I really found my feet again. Violet's more confident. So it's just kind of what bleeds through.
Yeah. No, I was easy that. Yeah, I do. I mean, when I was writing the last one, which is, Liberia Food, kind of, it's for the kids, for those, I wrote crime scenes, not sex scenes.
Yeah, you did.
And so, yeah, it's like, I know.
So her brain is stirring.
Yeah, it's all about super. But as I was writing it, my character has amnesia. So I felt like her because I'm discovering my world just as she's discovering the world. So it was very kind of meta.
You did such a good job about that because like she's consciously thinking like, hey, I don't know this, but she's not freaking out and like panicking. Like she's still self-assured. Like when I should know all the stuff, but I don't. That's how I really.
First, I stand here and like, great. Right?
Still to clean it off, and
yeah. So by the end of this book, how emotionally unstable are we going to be?
So I didn't think very, and then I got an Instagram today. And I'm like, I guess some people are, so I'm sorry. Like, people read it. Are you unstable? Oh, sorry. It's my math. I'm not sorry, they're sorry, because I mean, as I said, the more like, the first book, I get it. You don't know what's happening. But by the second book, like, this is informed consent. Like, this relationship we have, right? I don't care something about the girl and free will.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a disclaimer. There's even a disclaimer. Everybody, you can't say, I did not know she was just gonna fuck
Yeah, yes. Okay. That's the children, right? You guys didn't bring your children. Did Yarros? Yeah. Just show. My kid isn't here tonight, thank God, because I got asked about my sex life last night in front of my child, and I was like, oh, who's gonna see some money in therapy?
Oh, this is true. It's true. Just apologize.
I'm sorry, dude, but it's technically through college.
Thank gosh. Yeah. Yeah. No, me, Jen, people in my books, and now this is like college.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you excited for people to learn about this world that they didn't know about?
Damn, I'm gonna spoil it.
Well, what are the general things?
I love how the world opens up. So I love how you get to see so much. Oh my God, are you okay? Are you all right? Okay, excellent. Yes, cool. All right, sorry.
Not Twitters.
Okay, there's some writing of each other and it wasn't going very well. Okay, I'm very excited for you guys to see how the world like opens up, right? Because there's so much like out there without giving it away. And I love the intricacies of what's happening in areas you haven't seen yet. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard, okay? I'm not in it. I'm in the garden, or I am,
I'm gonna ask, what's your favorite distraction?
the garden. I would want to, if I'm stuck, I know. I like plants. They obey the rules. Like, usually they tell you what they need, like shade, no shade, minerals, no minerals. And then they do what they tell you they will, as we're children, do not. So, like, I love being in the garden. And when my hands are busy and my mind is quiet are when the best ideas come. Yeah. It's like the most natural plot ideas, as opposed to when you're like laying on the floor and you're like, something has to happen here, and you're staring at the ceiling.
Yeah. No, when I can't figure things out, I will do laundry.
Yeah.
And watch a Netflix document. Yeah. Because them, you all are crazier than what we put in the books, which is why we write books. Because yeah.
Documentaries are the best ideas. I hate a lot of nonfiction for that reason.
Oh, what nonfiction do you want?
It depends. I listened to Green Lines because what's better than Matthew McConaughey reading to you? Etch My Black Friend by Z-Way. I'm reading Madness in the 1952 Asylum, I think is what it's called. So it just depends. Whatever I see and has like a outstanding cover, like I'm a cover whore, I'll grab. But I'm always reading 3 books at once. So I'm always no, that's ADHD. And not commendable. I'm always like, I have one in paperback, which accidentally gets DNF'd sometimes because I left it somewhere. I have one on Audible and one on my Kindle.
I tend to read a lot of books for my friends, but I like, and it's weird, I like nonfiction a lot, and so I will read anything Eric Larson writes. Double in White City, if you don't know. John Packer. But I'm into like shipwreck mutinies, where like they crash the ship, like Her Majesty's ship is.
That I just need to know, like, is there like cleavage on the cover or no keys? There's even tags of shipwreck.
There's a tease on the water. There's murder. It's a day's murder. They're always like eating each other. We listen to them. Yeah. So David Grant, who wrote The Wager, who wrote The Lost City of Sea, he came up with the book, The Wager. And once again, you know, men go off to discover things and they crash and shit happens and then they kind of kill each other or men to just stay home. They get your wives their office supplies. A towel. Just go to office depot. So let's talk about some dragon. Let's go. So what type of dragon would you want to buy?
10.
You the because you
Like, unless he's standing on the other side of the parapet, I'm not even sure I'm making gauntlet, right? Like, he put me standing on the other edge of the parapet, and I'm like, yes, I'll be right there. But, like, oh, but I'm dead. Like, I know that. But, like, it's terror, it's nothing.
So did when you were creating the dragons, when I'm creating characters, I do their horoscope charts. I do a Griggs Meyer and dating things. Yeah. Oh yeah, I go like deep. Like if they were an animal, what kind of animal they'd be. Yeah, I'm loving this. Yeah. Kai, who's in the last, she's a Virgo.
Oh.
Because she knows everything, but she knows too much, and she would be what is she? She's a liar or something.
I would give it that.
So when you were creating your dragons, like, how did you give them their personality?
They're people. Like, to me, they're people in, like, dragon suits. Like, I keep, like, they're actual characters, yeah, right? So I look in, especially Taryn, I think Taryn was the first person who came to me and what it being about the fourth wing pitch. It was Taryn, and it was this very old curmudgeon-y dragon and being stuck with this young, frail girl. And, of course, I wanted to see that power dynamic flip, right? And I love him because he's like the house mom of the sorority who wants no heart in being there. And be, stop. Just don't call your ex again. Keep out. And he's very much my bulldog, my English bulldog. I had very old, curmudgeonly bulldog.
I see Sean Connery's voice. Whose voice is it?
It's just,
Huh?
They didn't show. I'm sorry, I never do. Fantastic.
That just blew my mind. Because now I'm going to have to go back and read it in the ninja's voice. That's why she's, okay, I mean, tell you, but there's now.
It was tough. What? And no, okay, we're not even at that stage, okay? Like, don't even. That doesn't go anywhere. It is sour. Go.
Control Z. Control Z. I didn't ask that. I wish I had a say to like shine. Oh, yeah.
I think my flammatory's here.
So what do you love most about writing this series?
Yeah. I love that I get to play the dragons. I grew up reading fantasy, and I grew up reading like Mercedes Lackey and Caffrey and Mary Zimmer Bradley and all these strong women fantasy writers. And then I wrote a fantasy and didn't get picked up. And it broke my little heart.
Yeah.
And I wrote a romance because I was just kind of processing how to deal with my husband going back to Afghanistan. And I was kind of going through like those emotions. And that got picked up. And suddenly I'm a romance author. Now, I love romance. And if it doesn't have romance, I'm not interested. Like, I think that stuff, I could make, like, it cannot keep my attention unless it's a nonfiction if there's not romance in it.
Yeah.
So getting to blend the two was like, yes, finally here we are. And so I love that there's that mix between internal and external conflicts. Yeah. So, and dragons. Like, dragons betray the homicide situation. Like, character conversation needs to end abruptly at Dragonlands. You need to head it off right here. Someone catches on fire.
No, again, being a crime writer and coming into the fantasy and romance realm, it was difficult for me. And I admire the romance kind of writer because, when I was drafting, I had some romance and they're like, well, yeah, they're kissing on page 30. That is not enough. It is not, or what do you want me to do? So I turned to those romances that I loved, being a Gen Xer, and I loved moonlighting Dave and Maddie. and I love Sam and Rebecca and Sam and Diane, Zeechers. And then I had like this collection of 1990s black erotica that she's worth a color. She was like, oh, let me peek in there. And then I was like, oh, okay, go.
Gonna drop the pearls, no more clutching.
Yeah, it's not that. So reading yours, I'm like, how is she writing these words? She used that word. That's so you to see.
Talk about those certain words I don't use with this being.
I noticed that.
You know what? Because I pretend that this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
See, all of you guys, you don't exist in my office, right? And as I'm writing that word, I'm like, crazy. And I'm like, and then you have to read it over, and then the worst is when you get edits on it. Because see, how is someone critiquing your sexiness? You feel like they're critiquing your sexiness.
It is cost.
This is yeah. Thundering you are on it, so
Yeah.
It turned bright.
What's the hardest part of all this?
the hardest?
The hardest part.
Oh,
Oh, God.
I think the hardest parts I have it afterwards, like watching it blow up and then trying to ignore it blowing up because I just need to finish that deadline and I need to be a mom for my kids and I needed to work. So I think having it blow up around me as opposed to like blowing me up, it's like it blew up around me and I watched it happen to somebody else, I think was the hardest.
Yeah.
But other than that one, I can block everybody like, one of you guys don't exist to me. And I do love you all, but sometimes you have to go away. When it can block the world out and sink into it, that's the magic. That's when the computer fades, my scene around me fades, and I'm there, and I'm in the college, and I'm with them. Yeah, that's the magic.
What, Bremel? Yeah.
On three, can you say Onyx Storm? 1, 2, 3.
Onyx Storm! I realize I haven't even told you guys exactly what has happened in the story, but it literally picks up where Iron Flame left off. So as soon as the ending happens and we find out that Xaden is a Venom now, which, like, spoiler alert, like, but you should know this by now because why are you watching an Onyx Storm rating vlog if you haven't read Iron Flame? So it picks up exactly where that left off and how everybody is handling it, and by everybody I mean like everyone that knows, so like Scale, Taryn, Violet, and you know how he's just how it affects him like mentally, physically, and how he's just so scared to touch Violet in any sort of way because he just does not want to lose control. So they can't do anything beyond kissing because, you know, he tends to lose control during certain more intimate moments and he doesn't want to risk anything happening to Violet. And so it picks up from there, and then we find out obviously that, you know, Andarna is a rare kind, a 7th breed of dragon, and so now we're going on this adventure to try and find the rest of Andarna's kind. And so the world is slowly beginning to expand as we see like what's beyond the wards, and not just what's beyond the wards, but beyond the realm of magic. So crossing, there's like something called the Emerald Sea, and once you cross the Emerald Sea, all magic is like cut off. So think like Throne of Glass, like when the magic's just like gone, like that. So we literally get to see much more of the world than we ever have before in like books 1 and 2. And like I was saying, like, I feel like there's a shift from like the first 2 books. I feel like the focus was romance, especially book 1. Like our main focus that got us going was like that tension between Violet and Xaden. And like that's what made us be like, oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean? Like it was that romance. Of course there's a lot of action and more to it than that, but like the romance is what really got us going in book 1. And then book 2, I feel like Rebecca Yarros tried keeping the focus on that romance and tried to build the tension between Violet and Xaden, like, oh, I don't trust you, and it just didn't work. And so I feel like Rebecca Yarros is now like, okay, like I'm shifting the focus being on the romance to being on actual like adventure and action. And that's working. Like, that is working so well. Like, I love the expansion of the world. We are still getting the romance. It's not as romance focused, but we are still getting romance in there. But I like that we're seeing a lot more than that now. You know what I mean? And their relationship, the relationship between Zayden and Violet no longer feels toxic. It feels healthy as F, you know, healthy AF. And we're getting to see so much more, like, and we're getting to know the characters so much more. And I think that's another thing that's really getting us going in this book, is that we get to really, like, we already have formed an attachment to these characters in book 1 and 2. So now we're really starting to see who they are, get more like banter between the characters. And I love it so much. This book has made me laugh out loud so much. The banter between like Taryn and Darna and Violet is hilarious, and Riddick with all his friends is just funny. Like, I am literally laughing out loud, and it is so rare for me to like laugh in books. Like, I read 100 books last year, probably only like 3 to 4 books made me laugh, because I don't laugh in books that often. Cry, yes, I'm a crybaby, but laugh, it takes a lot. So all of that combined with how many Easter eggs Rebecca Yarros gives us, it really keeps the story so interesting, even if the pacing itself can sometimes get a little bit slow. Like, the first 160-70 pages of it, like, we're pretty much just at Biscayeth getting ready to go on this adventure and everything. But what really gets you going is like the Easter eggs at the beginning of the chapter, the banter, the preparation for the adventure that you know is coming. And also, one thing that I had to point out is that I noticed something that I thought was really weird, is like, there's not really any animals. And I was like, is there not animals in this world but like sheeps and like the dragons and you know what I mean? Like, we didn't even see birds. But now that we're expanding the world, I'm like, oh, there is animals. So there's just one little thing. Hello everyone, I have hit the halfway mark, maybe a little bit past the halfway mark. I'm 289 pages into Onyx Storm, and oh my gosh. Okay, the pacing, we have to talk about this. The world is ever expansive, and I love that. I feel like I already talked about how I feel like the focus has shifted from being about the romance to now being about action and adventure, and actually like creating a bigger world and trying to figure out a solution to the big problem, which is like, you know, the Venom are coming. And so we have a huge expanse on the world. So if you go into Onyx Storm thinking that it's going to be as fast paced as Fourth Wing was, or even Iron Flame, you're going to be very, very disappointed, because this book is a lot more slow paced. But I don't mind it, because I'm actually really enjoying the world building. I'm really enjoying seeing all the isles and all these different places that we never got to see in the first 2. And I love the expansion of the world that we're seeing and how different everyone's customs are. And this world is just so beautifully built, and I'm loving it. But if you're not into like all like the political things and like how all the different customs and the world building, it is going to be very slow paced for you. If you guys have read When the Moon Hatched, it kind of reminds me of that pacing, where there are moments where it picks up and it gets really, really fast, and then it slows down and the world begins to build again and again, because we're visiting all these different places. Same thing with this one. But like I said, I love it. Like, I love it. And you still get those jaw-dropping moments at the end of the chapter. I love the information that we get at the beginning of the chapter, that little top portion that, we get. I'm really, really loving it. So I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying it a lot. And like, I just think it's great. I think it's great. Like, I'm having so much fun. And something just happened. It's just great. Like, so that's my update for you. Hi guys, I'm in a drive-thru trying to get some food because I still have yet to get my groceries. We're supposed to go grocery shopping today, but my fiance is not home yet, so we haven't gone grocery shopping, which leaves me to eat junk food. So here I am. But anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about Onyx Storm, my next Onyx Storm update. I am 70% into the book now, going in at about 370 pages, and I just wanted to give you guys an update because I went online and started looking at the Goodreads reviews, and I've been seeing that there's like a lot of like mixed reviews. Like some people are loving it and some people are like, what is this? This is not what I was expecting. And like, so I want to tell you guys that the pacing, the tone of this book is very, very much different from the other two. Like, I felt like the first book was very romantic-y heavy, the second book was very fast-paced, and then this third book is definitely a lot more slow. Like, I feel like Iron Flames had its moments where it was more slow-paced, but I feel like Onyx Storm is like extra slow-paced. It's a lot of like world building and like getting to know the politics and the ins and outs of all these cultures, and I've already like told you guys that, but like, I am loving it. I'm eating it up, probably because I'm a high fantasy girly. I love my romantasy, but I have to say that I like the action and stuff a little bit more than just the romance, to be honest with you, or else I would have just been a romance reader, and I don't really like to read normal romances. I like the fantasy, the epicness, the world building, this fiction, and building this fictional world more than I just like the romance. So I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. Like, so much stuff has happened. And, like, one thing I should update you guys on is, like, I don't feel like this is a spoiler, but I am, like, 370 pages in, and I still don't know what Violet's second signet is. So if you're going into Onyx Storm, expecting to know, or expecting that you're going to know what Violet's second signet is, almost 400 pages in, I still don't know anything. I don't know shiznit about what her second signet is. I don't know. We get hints, but not hints enough to be like, oh my gosh, it's this, it's that. I have no clue. What her second signet is. All I know, or not even know, I can only suspect what I've heard from theories from Iron Flame. So I still don't know what her second signet is. Apparently it's already manifested. Other people have, well, I can't really say like other people, but it's manifested. Like, it's manifested. We know that for sure because somebody already stated that it's manifested, but we still don't know what it is. Nor do we know if Violet has used it in any way yet, or if it's still just lingering there waiting to be used. That being said, we did have a pretty beautiful, moving, heartbreaking moment that just happened when we got to one of the islands, one of the isles, and with Riddick of all people, Riddick and Violet have this moment, and I was literally in tears crying, even though nothing happened. It's just them talking. I just, gosh, that whole thing just like had me tearing up because I could like feel the emotion from these two characters who like care about each other so much, and not in a romantic way. Don't start theorizing that it's like a romance between them. It's not. It's like a friendship that's like almost like a family bond between these two, and it's just so beautiful. Like, it's just so beautiful, these two characters. So I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it. It's looking like a 5-star for me for sure. Like, I almost want to, we'll see what we learn from this book, but I have a feeling that like as soon as I'm done with it, I'm just gonna want to like pick it up all over again. I don't know why, but I feel like I am. I don't know. But anyways, that's it. That's it for my update. I just wanted to let you guys know what is going on. But yeah, right, bye. Toodles. to the review. I just realized I'm looking at like the camera. I have so many goddamn copies of this book, and when I tell you guys that it was an accident, I actually have 4 copies of this book. The other one is in my library. Did I mean to have 4 copies of Onyx Storm? No. As you can see, I got one at the Rebecca Yarros event, which is signed. And then I got the other one at Barnes & Noble because I needed to read it that day. And I guess the one that my fiance had ordered for me was shipped to me. And then the next morning, I of course had to run and get the Target exclusive. And then the one that was shipped to me finally came in. So now I have 4 copies of Onyx Storm. Am I sad about it? No. Am I upset? No, hell no. I'm happy. And 3 of them are signed or stamped, whatever you want to call it. One of them is signed, the other 3 are stamped, and then one doesn't have anything. This is going to be a non-spoiler book review, and then we're going to go on to the spoiler talk. So let's give this final review on Onyx Storm. So just because it's not spoiler for Onyx Storm, it is going to be a spoiler for Iron Flame or Fourth Wing, so make sure you guys read those books before I go on to my book review for this one. But let's get into my final thoughts on this book. Okay, so I loved this book. I really did. I noticed that this one seemed to have a little bit more mixed reviews because it was definitely different from Fourth Wing, and it was different from Iron Flame. Because Fourth Wing is a straight up a romance-heavy fantasy book, and then Iron Flame is still pretty heavy on the romance. It gives a little bit more fantasy elements in it, but it was more focused on the romance still. Onyx Storm, however, even though, yes, the romance is still a focus, the world building and the expansion of the story, the plot, the world, the politics, everything, it expanded. It felt more like reading a high fantasy than it felt like reading a romantasy. This felt more like, if you guys have read, like the first 2 books feel more like, I'm not saying in the plot, I'm just literally going by straight up vibes. The first 2 books have more ACOTAR vibes, and the 3rd book has more Throne of Glass vibes. The story is completely different. I'm not comparing the plots. I'm not comparing the stories. Literally just going based off the vibe. Okay? Literally just the vibe. Don't tell me I'm comparing it to. It's nothing like those series. I'm just saying vibes alone. ACOTAR vibes, first 2. This one is Throne of Glass vibes. Just trying to give you a comparison so you guys can see the difference. If you guys have read those books, you guys can see the difference in the tone of the book. This one is straight up more high fantasy. We got a lot more world building in this one, and I really loved it. Yes, it was definitely a lot more slower paced than the last 2 books. Book 1 was nonstop, go, 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 super fast paced, kept you on your toes the entire time. The second book was still pretty fast paced. There were moments where it was slow. However, it was still pretty fast paced for the most part. And then you get to this one, and this one has such a slow build up because we are expanding the world. And the thing about Rebecca Yarros is she even said in her interview, she even said like in person when I went to the event, that everything that she does is for a purpose. So this world building has a purpose. Every island, every city that we encounter, every mountain that we encounter is important, and it's going to play a bigger role in the story. Also, like Throne of Glass, we get a lot more characters and dragons that we never really got to fully explore up until this point. You get to find out these dragons, even though we on surface level we knew kind of who these dragons are, you see more, like you just get thrown all these random names and you get bombarded with this character and that character. And it felt very much like Throne of Glass in that sense as well. It's like the first 2 books, you know what I mean? Were like fine, dandy, whatever, and then they just start throwing more and more characters at you, but they served a purpose. That's what it felt like with Onyx Storm. It felt like the calm, even though it's called Onyx Storm, it literally felt like this book was the calm before the storm. Like they're setting everything up for the bigger plot lines that are going into book 4 and book 5. If you guys have read When the Moon Hatched by Sarah H. Parker, also very similar pacing, you have to get past the world building, but once you do, when it gets there, it gets there. And this one, I didn't mind the break from all the non-stop nonsense. Don't get me wrong, a lot of things still did happen. There was still a lot of action in this book. However, I just felt like the main focus was building, seeing how the politics work in all these different cities, seeing how each one is run, how they all basically work together as one territory to another, one island to another. Seeing all the politics of that, the world expansion, the different cultures, and how each different place has a different culture and different vibe and different things that they prioritize, that different morals, I should say. All that served a purpose, and I very much enjoyed it. Was I a little bit like bored at times? Yeah, because it's a lot of explaining, okay? It's a lot of like talk. It's a lot of like what's the word for it? Like juggernaut, just like juggernaut. Is that the word, or is that just like something from Call of Duty? That's Sugarnog. You know what I mean? Like a lot of like speaking, like a lot of like explanations and descriptions, but all of them serve a purpose. All of them serve a purpose. And so I actually really enjoyed this book. This is setting the tone for what is bound to be an epic battle, and I cannot wait for books 4 and 5. Like honestly, Onyxly, such a bad pun. Honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait. So that's my honest review. That is my Onyx. I can't stop. This is my Onyx review. 5 out of 5 stars. It's going to be hard. Like, I'm already in a reading slump after reading this. I don't know how I'm going to move forward. I really fell in love with the characters. I appreciated the characters more and more. Riddick, okay, for example, this is not a spoiler. Riddick, we already know who Riddick is. We loved him in book 1. We love him in book 2. Book 3? Riddick in book 3? Like a whole new level of appreciation for this man. Arik, I don't know how you say his name. The prince from Iron Flame. Liked him in book 2. Loved him in Onyx Storm. Loved him in book 3. I'm just saying the appreciation for these characters, you will fall in love with them even harder than you did before. If you enjoyed them before, if you liked them before, you're gonna love them now. Okay, if you love them now, you're gonna be absolutely obsessed with them now. If you were obsessed with them before, you're going to want to sell your soul to these people. Like literally, the character building, the world building, it was just, I loved it. So if you guys have not read this, please click off now because we're getting into the spoiler talk and the theories. All right. So hi, welcome. Last warning. 3, 2, 1. If you are still here, I am going to assume that you read this. Time to get to the spoiler. Don't say that you were not warned because I already warned you. Spoiler talk now, okay? Let's get into the nitty gritty that is Onyx Storm. With straight up, ultimate spoiler, the effing ending. What was that ending, Miss Yarros? What was that? I was just confused and it had me staring at the effing wall when it was over. I literally went like this because I couldn't believe that they just ended it right there. Like it was so abrupt, and then I just felt like I had to turn around and read it all over again. Like Xaden took off to the middle of butt F nowhere, and now him and Violet are married? Imogen wiped her memories, and she said, you wanted this. Excuse me, por qué? Por qué? And then let's talk, why is Taryn sleeping? Like, we know he was, we know he was harmed in the battle, but Taryn we've never really seen Taryn sleep like this. You know what I mean? Like, in the third book, yes, we did see him sleep. But the end, it was a little sus. It was a little sus. Like, why is he sleeping? What's going on? What does he need to recover from? He says he needs to recover. What does he need to recover from? Excuse me, what? What does he need to recover from? What? Miss Yarros, no. And then I heard that we might have to wait until 2027 for book 4? That breaks my heart. I mean, I understand it. I understand that this woman has a family and she has a life and she wants to spend all this time with her kids. And as a mother, I understand that. But as a reader, that breaks my heart. I literally need to go back and reread this whole book, because when we found out that Arik was, what is he? He's like he's not a truthsayer. I forgot what he was called, but he can see the future. He can see that. So not only like Melgren, where he can see like the future outcomes of battles, but he can literally see the future of everything. And there's this line in here, like at page 300 something. I was watching other people do videos on this book, and somewhere in the 300 pages, Arik, whatever his name is, he said something about how he doesn't think that he's going to live past the war, but he's going to live long enough to help people. Which means that I feel like he's predicting his own unalivement. Speaking of that, let's just get to the theories. Because I have so many theories. First of all, let's go to chapter 2. Let's go to chapter 2. I can't believe nobody's talking about this theory. Well, as far as I've seen, nobody's talking about this theory. Chapter 2, page 16. At the very top, it says, the rarest of signets, those that rise once in a generation or century, have manifested concurrently with an equal twice in our records, both critical times in our history. But only once have the 6 most powerful walked the continent simultaneously. As fascinating as that spectacle must have been, I would rather not live to see it happen again. A study on signets by Major Dalton Cisneros. And then in this chapter, they go on to talk about how 2 of the most powerful signets that we know of so far are Xaden and Violet's. So we already have the 2. We already know that Rebecca Yarros, she even said it in the event, if you watch that part of this video, everything that Rebecca Yarros writes is to forward the plot, or their Easter eggs, or its character development. Nothing in the whole book is filler shiznit. Everything in here, all the information, the descriptions, all of that has a purpose. So why talk about the 6 most powerful signets and how it was a crucial time? Why talk about the 2? We already know that 2 people have manifested the same signet because it happened with Xaden and the other kid, I forgot his name. I forgot the other kid's name. But it happened with Xaden and it happened with the kid. And we know that it probably happened with the kid because Xaden is now a Venin. But the fact that they also mentioned the 6 most powerful people and has only happened once in history and they'd rather not see it again. 1, I wonder what the heck happened during that time. And 2, I wonder who all that is. Because we know 2 of the 6 are Xaden and Violet. And now that kid. Who else? Right? Like, all 6 of them are there and they all serve a purpose. So that's one thing that I want to talk about. Another thing that I want to talk about is Violet's second signet, when we found out that she is a dreamwalker. Now, when I found out that she's a dreamwalker, at first I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But then when Xaden kind of put it into perspective and he's like, no, you don't understand. When people's shields are down, their mind shields are down when they're asleep, when they're unconscious. It's the only time where people can literally not block her at all. And it looks like there's a venom in here. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Xaden sage that I think he's called a sage, right? That can also walk into dreams. And it seems like he can do it consciously. While he's awake, he can go into people's dreams. So I'm wondering if Violet can do that. When everybody else is asleep but she's awake, she can just stumble into people's dreams. And I wonder if that goes into jumping into memories too, kind of like Dane, but without even having to, one, for them to be awake, and two, without even having to touch that person. I feel like Violet's dream walking ability is a lot more powerful than we think it is, especially since the Irids were talking about how dangerous Violet's signet is, the one that Andarna gave her. Another thing that I want to talk about is at the very end when Xaden leaves, right? They were having this whole argument about like Taryn and Scale. I always say Scales. Scale. Taryn and Scale were having this argument about how Violet would never agree to it, but it needs to be done. Or she will never agree to it, but it needs to be done. Blah, 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 blah. After that, Violet wakes up. She's married to Xaden, but Xaden went and bye-byes. And he left her with a note that says, "Don't look for me. It's yours now." Let's unpack this because there's so much to that. There's so many theories that I have to that and that I've also like been hearing from people. So one was a theory that I heard from someone about like Bodhi being the brother Venom, because Xaden was talking about having like a brother Venom. At first I thought it was Felix. I think it was Felix. Was it Felix or Panchek? I can't remember. It was one of them. But then, like, people were like, no, it's Bodhi. And I was like, is it Bodhi? And then I realized that I think Xaden left Violet with Tyrandor. And that's why he married Violet, so that she is now the heir. So that now she inherits the throne. Why would Violet need to inherit the throne if Bodhi was supposed to inherit it if Xaden left? Because one, Bodhi didn't want it. And two, we know that Bodhi kept saying, I can do more, and Xaden wasn't letting him have that opportunity to do more. So I think that Bodhi was just had enough, channeled through the earth, and became another Venom. And so him and Xaden took off as Venom and told Violet, don't worry about where I'm going. Or he told her where he's going and was like, hey, don't worry about where I'm going. I'm leaving. Here's Tyrandor. Take care of Tyrandor. And I'm going to go. And the reason why Imogen had Violet's memories wiped, or why Violet asked Imogen to wipe her memories, is because there is now going to be an investigation on Xaden. This is literally a theory that I've heard. I will link the girl below who I saw talking about this. But that's a theory that that they're going to be asking, interrogating, just like what happened in book 2 with Iron Flame and how they kept interrogating Violet. I feel like they're really going to do that in the 4th book. And maybe Violet's found out a little bit too much, something that's very, very dangerous. And she's like, you know what, Imogen, just wipe my memories. It's better to be safe than sorry. I shouldn't know this, especially while these interrogations are going on. And that's why she told Imogen to wipe her memories. But another theory is right here where it says, I reach for Taryn, but the bond feels foggy, like he's asleep. Page 526. He needs a cycle of rest to recover, Andarna clarifies. Recover from what? He was fine when I saw him last. He was fine! He was fine, and then she gets sidetracked from there. But he was fine. Taryn was fine. So why does he need a cycle of sleep if he was fine? I understand dragons need to sleep. But even earlier on, and like I said, Rebecca Yarros does everything for a reason. So earlier on in the book, when she's in the Isles and Taryn is asleep, she still has that connection to Taryn. She can still feel that connection to Taryn. How come she can't feel that connection anymore? Why does it feel groggy? Why does that connection feel groggy? Even when he was asleep, she could still feel that connection. She can't anymore. So my friend, this is what, like my friend's theory that she was talking about, is she thinks that Taryn's bond has been severed from Violet. And either him and Sgail took off with Xaden. I don't know if I entirely believe that, because we all know Taryn isn't like the biggest fan of Xaden. But why would it be groggy, right? Another theory that I have, and we know, like, I feel like there was some, there for sure, I'm like 99% sure there was some bond severed. I just don't know whose. Because Andarna has that ability to sever bonds. We already know this. The Irid tells her in, when was it? What was the page where, like, when Andarna left? You see, okay, page 444. Leothin shifts his focus to Andarna. Humans should only be capable of bonding a single dragon, and yet you forged a second connection where there shouldn't be one. Only an Irid can do that. Your instincts are intelligent, but you need instruction. Break the connection and come with me. So page 443, he says, Andarna says, I am bonded. Our lives, our minds, their very energy that forms us is intertwined. So end it. Leothin angles his head, and the scales above his eyes furrow. Bonds are merely magical ties. You are an Irid. You are magic. Bend it, shape it, break it as you see fit. And then she says, I cannot. And he says, and yet you already did. So one, Andarna bonded somebody else and she broke that bond. Who? I have no effing clue. I have no effing clue whose bond she broke. Second of all, we know that she can break bonds. And I feel like she can break other bonds too. Since Taryn is bonded to Andarna, I think that she can mess around with Taryn's bonds. I think that because she is magic, she can even break bonds that don't even involve her. So I think she either broke Taryn and Violet's bond, or she broke Taryn and Sgail's bond, and that's why, and so that Sgail can leave with Xaden, because we know dragons cannot be apart from their mated dragons for too long. So I think there was a bond that was either broken there, and it even says that, and towards the end, we even have Theophany talking about how she can keep her dragon if she wishes. So we know that, was it Theophany? Somebody said that, like, you can keep your dragon if you wish. So we know that Venin do have the ability to continue to bond with their dragons after they become Venin. So did Sgail go with Xaden? And we knew that Xaden shouldn't be around Violet. So Taryn and Sgail decided to break the bond, which is why they were like, she will never agree to it. Not talking about Violet, but talking about Andarna breaking their bond. Or was Sgail and Xaden's bond broken? We don't know. We don't know. So some bond was broken. I don't know what. There's something going on with these Irids. Why are they different from the other dragons? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. All the dragons, they're amazing and they're cool and they're all different colors and each one has its own ability, but the Irids, that's a whole new level. You're comparing like humans to like deities here, okay? That's literally the difference between like a regular dragon and an Irid, is like one is human level, the next one is like literally like demigod level. Why are they so different? What is the purpose of that? Obviously they serve a purpose. Rebecca Yarros could have easily been like, okay, Andarna's the 7th dragon, cool. Andarna's type of dragons can also do this. They can break bonds, cool. And then that's it. But no, not only can they break bonds, they're literally magic. They have iridescent scales. They can camouflage into anything. They're on a whole new level. So there's obviously a freaking reason for that. We just don't know what yet. So there's just so much to unpack with this book. There's just so much that we still have yet to know. And that's just some of my spoilery talk that I just need to talk to you. If you guys want me to make a whole separate video of talking about the different theories in this book, I will. Just let me know down in the comments below, because I have so many. I'm just going to reread this book and literally dive into all of it. So anyways, you guys, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed watching it. And yeah, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to be notified, because we do talk about books about dragons. I'm going to be doing a reading vlog in which I try to read books about dragons to overcome my 4th wing hangover, as well as my pre-hangover, because I did read some books before Onyx Storm to get ready for this book. And I will let you know how that went. So if you guys want to see more dragons, you want to see more romantasy books, you want to see more theories on this book, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!